And we are back with another Between the Cheeks Boss Buss Extravaganza Supreme with a JFrank on the side. With the one, the only JFrank.
Hey, what's
How
up?
you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm living. I'm just trying to keep doing me, man. I'm good.
That's good to hear, dude. Yeah, we're in kind of a rough spot. Just a little bit. We're not.
Man, no, you ain't lying.
There's no shows now. That Secret Dreams was canceled.
Yeah, I was supposed to close that night out too.
I know.
Like it was supposed to be, me, Kevy Cav, and Angie Spence. Shout out to those two. Love y'all.
I love Kevin Cav.
Yeah, dude, he's my dude. But yeah, we were supposed to play that out, but to be honest, as soon as they canceled the November show, I was like, please, no. And I felt it coming, but I was like, but he started me and Pat Kelly started texting about it. Like, we still down to do it, and it gave me hope. So I was like, yes, let's go. I have a whole new set. No one's heard. Whole better mashups, originals, the whole nine that no one's heard yet, and I had ready for that, and it didn't happen. So it's literally just sitting here waiting. So it's ready to go, just waiting to play it.
Dang, dude. Well, hopefully we'll be able to hear that soon. Yeah. I saw that and I was like, no. Like my one little grain of hope for any show in December.
Yeah, it was supposed to be a full audio sound system, so it wasn't going to be like a silent disco. It was supposed to be a full PA system, and I had like a 5 or 6 song mashup.
Damn.
Trust me, it was going to go. Oh man, that would have been fucking crazy.
Dude.
But alas, yeah, it got canceled, so I just gotta put it off to the side for the time being. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, but in the situation that we're in. But I understand where Pat's coming from, just because he's trying to stay safe. He's trying to keep the community safe. So I mean, props to him. Props to him for making such a difficult call. But yeah, it's just for the betterment of everybody that we just hold off for now.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, that was a tough but good call. Yeah, especially with all of the new restrictions and us consistently getting 700 cases a day.
It's rough. It's rough. Did you see I saw a video. Well, first off, hats off to everybody in Taiwan for doing Ultra Taiwan. They had all the artists quarantined in Taiwan for 2 weeks before the show. They had immediate
the testing?
The testing at the festival. It was rapid testing. I don't know how accurate that was, but according to what I saw, they've had minimal to 0 cases after Ultra.
Wow.
So, and on top of that, Australia, they're back to in-person, full-blown festivals.
Yeah, they just did it right.
Yeah, I don't think it was a festival. It was just a show. But still, there's so many steps ahead of us in the sense of getting it under control, maintaining that control, and then reaping the benefits from it. Is going back to an actual normalcy that we're all used to. But we are so far behind on everybody.
Yeah, we have definitely not made it look good for the rest of the world. We had a moment where we could have done something, and then every Karen and their mother was like, I don't really think it's real. I don't think I'm going to wear a mask. In fact, I'm going to go out dancing.
In spite.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, and also not wear a mask downtown, wherever I'm going either.
And the thing is with my, I forgot who I was talking to on Facebook about it, but just in the comment sections, we were just going back and forth, about how there's a huge double standard. So, we have the EDM scene, who we haven't had shows since March.
Yeah, real shows.
Real shows since March. Everything's canceled. Everything's postponed. But if you think about the club scene, clubs have been popping since the initial lockdown eased up. What was that? June?
Yeah, June, July, somewhere around
there.
They've
still been going. So like it's a super double standard in the sense of like, okay, yeah, clubs, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as you put that stamp of it's a live event, no, definitely not. Even though you have a packed club of 50, 60, 70 people, packed. That's actually a modest number. Like you have a couple hundred people in this club. Most of them aren't wearing masks.
No.
And no one bats an eye.
Nope.
No.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. But I remember I went somewhere and I was looking around and I was just in shock because I was like, wait, not a single person here is wearing masks. Like the second they get in the door, they just take off their mask. Like that's not the point. That's
no, you know what's actually kind of crazy? They'll actually look at you weird if you're still wearing it on.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, aren't we in a pandemic? I guess everybody just doesn't care, but that's why America's so behind.
Yeah, and the thing is with that is the fact that a lot of the other countries, a lot of the European countries who have it under control, they have a sense of selflessness. Like in the sense of like every person has their individual duty to help their community. Mm-hmm. So it's they all have that. Like obviously I can't speak for every single person, but I'm saying like for the majority, at least for the government, like they at least took first off the initiative to like lock it down for first off. Mm-hmm. And then everybody got a sense of like urgency as far as how serious it was. So then everybody had a sense of like, I need to chill out for a minute.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how everybody took it. But over here, yeah, everybody seems to be very, like, it became a very nonchalant, like, easy to blow off thing.
Mm-hmm.
And look at us now, like.
Yep.
It's just kind of crazy.
Like, went from 300 cases to 600 a day, and it's still going. Like, Nebraska's definitely not doing that great.
No.
Even compared to the other states, but now we're in a place where it's like, well, now not only can nobody, especially in our scene at least, because of that double standard, like, nobody here can do anything. And we're all stuck either doing live streams or nothing.
Yeah, and on top of that, the live streams, it's funny because like you can barely do those because like let's say if you live stream on Facebook, they're gonna smack you with a copyright. So like 80% of that is gonna be the sound's gonna get shut off.
Yep.
I've done a live stream on like me and another DJ. Shout out to Arab. We did a live stream on Twitch. Mm-hmm. That seemed to work out. It was just the fact that like we were just figuring out how to do it, and at the time we were just brand new. I feel like everybody was brand new to like live streaming music like that.
Yeah.
So we were still trying to work out the kinks. Mm-hmm. So Twitch, I will give full props for just because like you can actually like be able to do what you want to do on Twitch. But other than that, like you're not going to get away with it on YouTube. You know you're not going to get away with it on Facebook. Mm-mm. It's just one of those things you're just not going to get it done. So it's hard, especially whenever the whole wave of DJs started live streaming in general just to try to like have some type of normalcy and then Facebook cracked down hard. So like I know a lot of people that were like they'd live stream and within like they try to post it within like 5 minutes like it's gone. Like it's just not gonna happen. So like I essentially just like did not try to live stream just because like that for that specific reason on top of the fact that like this gave me more time to work in the studio on my own originals. That's True. How I got a lot of the Kaleidoscope album done just because I had so much ample time on my hands that like I had to be in the studio. You have to, like if you're a producer and you weren't in the studio during quarantine, I don't know what you were doing, but that was free time when the world was literally on pause.
Yep. Yeah, just time to do your craft and make music.
You had literally so much time to just write and produce.
Mm-hmm. It's been like 8-ish months now since everything started. It's crazy.
And I'm still trying to like stay in the studio and try and be as productive as I was during quarantine.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like, I've actually talked to a lot of producers and like the writer's block during that time was also very real.
Mm-hmm.
So like, even though I would get a lot of stuff done, there'd be a section of that time where I'd be like, I can't think of anything. Like my creativity is so bone dry.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even funny. And I spoke to a lot of people, and they felt the same way. Like a lot of producers felt the exact same way. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. It wasn't just me, because I was like, this is outrageous. I had never had a drought that long before. So I was like, maybe it's the quarantine. I don't know. Like, I don't want to just blame it on that just because it's there. Like, but no, a lot of people had that issue because I'm a part of an Ableton group, and a lot of people in there were like, no, dude, like, I couldn't think of anything for months. And I was like, okay, so it wasn't just me then.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of that, like the normal type of inspiration you'd get from the outside world and like going to concerts or festivals or whatever it may be, like that inspiration was just also paused. Like you're basically just like coming up with things. You might have some inspiration, but like you don't have other events going on that are like really pushing you toward a sound. You're like kind of stuck. So that makes sense on a producer level.
Yeah, plus like thinking like, for instance, I will, if I don't obviously pre-COVID, I would I would go to shows, but if I didn't get to go to them, then or if they're like on a major level, then I would look up the YouTube videos for like whoever's set that I missed. So then that was literally like a refuel, like a recharge on my creativity, because you would hear new sounds and new way, like especially when you're a producer, like you hear new sounds and new ways to make different sounds, or you have a general idea of like, how can I make a sound that's different, and like, or you could go, how can I make something like that and put my own spin on it. So a lot of times, like for me at least, going to shows or like looking up shows on like YouTube in general like that, I get like my creativity gets recharged. So whenever all that stopped, it just like, it was done. It was like my phone died. Like,
yeah,
just nothing.
Yep, nothing you can do, dude. I just thought of this in my head, but I played Quantum Power at the event last night.
Oh shit! Seriously?
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, this is new JFrank, and then fucking dropped it. I love that
Quantum
song.
Power. That's easily one of my favorite songs. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know, like, the reason where the name Quantum Power came from was I was already working on the track, and so like I just had a gap of dead space for the drop. I didn't know what to put there. And so a commercial, like I'm just kind of watching TV. I took a break. I'm watching TV, and my little nephews are over, and something came on like Nickelodeon about like Power Rangers, and it showed like all the throwback. It was like a little, you know how like Marvel has their little intro where it shows like all the previous Marvel movies.
Yeah.
It was like that. It showed like all the previous Power Rangers, and then and when I was growing up, I watched Lightspeed Rescue, and one of the Rangers, he would, when he would morph, he yelled out Quantum Power, and I saw that, and I was like,
dude.
And so I immediately ran to the studio. I started looking up, like, I just looked up like YouTube. Because like I completely forgot about all of that, so I had to like do research on like that season of Power Rangers and like what Ranger it was, then YouTube that, and then I finally got a good clip, and I was like, that's it. And it's him saying Quantum Power, and that's it. Like, I was like, that's the name.
Dude.
And so whenever the drop hits, that's literally the actor saying quantum power.
That's sick. That's so cool. Dude. I never would have expected that origin for the like track concept and name.
Yeah, like I want to say it was more so my brother than it was me.
Mm.
But like I feel like both of us were super into Power Rangers when we were kids. So like,
dude, I love Power Rangers. Those explosions, they would just punch something.
Oh my
and it
god,
would explode.
that would give me all the testosterone my little like 5-year-old body could handle. Like,
dude, right?
Yeah, I was sitting there like, when they blew up, like they would do the little like the pose, and then the monster would drop behind them, and like the giant ass explosion. It's like, dude,
it's everything.
It was everything at that time. So yeah, I still hold like as like childhood like shows, Power Rangers was like up there. So when that light bulb went off,
mm-hmm.
I was like, this is just a really dope way to like go back to to literally one of my origin, like a part of my origin as far as like what I used to watch. So
yeah,
it's actually kind of funny how that came about. But yeah, that's where the name and the drop came from at the same time. I knocked out two birds with one stone. And I was like, go me, dude.
Dude, that's sick. The whole album is great. And so it was how many songs did it end up being? 7?
It ended up being 7.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
It was originally going to be 8. Oh. But there's still a track that I haven't released yet. Still a track I haven't released yet that was going to be a part of it. But when I was releasing it, at that point I was conversating with some friends, and they were like, for an EP, that's like a pretty lengthy EP. Like that might as well be an album. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yeah, and I just kind of thought about that for the next few days, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna shave this one off for now, just so I can release it later. And I dropped it down to 7. But regardless, mm-hmm. It wasn't even an EP. It wasn't an EP that more after that, because an EP has to be 4 songs in under 30 minutes, something like that.
Typically,
like 4 to 6. Mm-hmm. So anything after that, that's an album. So I was just like, you know what? All right, we'll just call it an album and call it a day, because mm-hmm. I was already at that point. I was already so ready to just let everybody hear it.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just call it an album, get the artwork fixed, because it had the Kaleidoscope EP on it. Mm-hmm. So I had to get that taken off and things like that. And it was just it just felt so good to get that out, because that whole album is expressing my emotions from the moment I got here, from the moment I moved to Nebraska till then, like up to that point.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like it was so therapeutic, essentially, because it was such a roller coaster ride from when I got here to trying to get my name out there, to playing at Karma and like the pinnacle of that, and then like having to like during the summer going to CWS, being on stage for CWS, then playing like 4 shows in 3 nights and doing all this other stuff, and being on a shit ton. Then my birthday hit, and that was absolutely insane. And so like, and then there was a lot of lows of like getting rejected for shows, or like people telling me that I was gonna be on a show and it just didn't work out, and like just all the like no's you get, and a bunch of other stuff. So it was just all the emotions of like ups and downs of being here up to that point that made that album.
Dude, that's crazy. That's so, dude, I couldn't imagine, like every time I've made a track, like the second I'm done, the second I get it mastered, the second it's ready, I'm like, okay, release time. Like, dude, having all like 7 tracks just like that you're holding, like nobody's seen these yet, like it would be so tough. I would want to just show everybody. Like I would just want to blast it.
The worst part about it was not saying anything. That was the worst part, just because like at that point, you're sitting on 7 songs, and mind you, they're all done. Mm-hmm. You're just waiting for the release date to hit. So you're just like, and then people will be asking you like, oh, so you got any new music coming up? And I'm like, yeah. And then like, care to dive a little deeper into that? And I'm like, no,
it's coming.
It's coming. And so I was like, obviously, like as it got closer, then I'd leak a little more.
Mm-hmm.
But once it all got done, I was like, yeah, I feel you.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's mastered, I immediately want to be like, all right, there you go.
Yep.
But like
new thing.
But you gotta, you already know the drill. You gotta have time to promote it,
mm-hmm.
do all that stuff. So I mean, like you gotta give it at least like a couple weeks at minimum, just to let everybody know, hey, I'm making this track. It comes out this day. You should pre-save it or do whatever. Like
mm-hmm.
do whatever. Because that was a whole like. Yeah, that's just how it goes,
Yeah.
So it's just it's just the process.
Yep.
And there's no getting around it.
No, you gotta have that time to promote it. Even those 2 weeks while I'm waiting, like the weeks that I was waiting before Ghost Bear got released, I was just sitting there like, this is crazy. Like I've listened to this song 1,000 times while I was making it, and nobody's heard it.
Yeah.
It makes, whenever you do that too, like if you hold that music back and then like release it, like it makes the surprise so much more.
Mm.
But like during the time, you're like, oh, I just want to show people.
Man, dude, and like you put your heart and your soul into that stuff. So like you usually want to be like, hey, look what I did. Like
mm-hmm.
I'm so proud of this, regardless of what anybody thinks.
Mm-hmm.
I did that. So trust me, I totally feel you on that. Just because like, especially with a 7-track album, like, yeah, that was tough. Just because of how proud I was of it, and I still am proud of it. Like
you fucking killed it.
I was talking to Matt Trapp. Shout out to Matt Trapp.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just talking, and he's got some years on me,
mm-hmm.
and so he's like, dude, if you just stay consistent within those years to make up the time
mm-hmm.
to get to where I am, dude, you're gonna be like, there's no telling where you'll be.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, and it was really dope to hear that from him, just because like for one thing. I haven't heard from him in a while because he was at his honeymoon. Congratulations, by the way.
Congrats. Yeah, I saw that wedding. Yeah, that's sick.
And so he was off doing that, so I haven't seen him in forever. It was with quarantine and all that stuff going on. So it was a good time to just kind of kick it and talk with him for a while. And for him to say that, it was very, it was like really... I don't even know what word I would use to describe it, but...
Well, that's like... I feel like that's like a...
Wow, like...
That's inspiring, but also like so supportive of you as like a new artist. And
yeah.
someone that's being around for so long.
Right.
Like
everybody knows the string theory. So like for it to come from him, I was like, wow, that means a lot. That means
mm-hmm.
a lot. Just because with me, I don't like to... like, I am very prone in not giving myself enough credit. So,
mm-hmm.
like...
Most artists are.
Yeah, so whenever I released it, if somebody asked me, like, how do you think it's doing? I was like, oh, I think it's doing okay, but, like... Or how do you think you did on it? Like, I think I did all right, pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And then people come up with, like, dude, you fucking murdered that. And I was like... like, and I just don't know how to react because, like, I don't give myself enough credit, like, that same amount of credit. So...
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just like, oh, no, you're just messing with me. And then they're like, no, like, you did that. So, yeah, that's just how I am a lot of times. Like, I just do not give myself the credit that I actually deserve. So,
mm-hmm.
in which case, like, I just try to stay, and for the most part, it's just because I try to stay humble. Like, I don't try to brag. I don't try to boast about what I do or whatever, like, whatever there is to brag about. Like,
mm-hmm.
That's just not the way to go about it. Especially in this industry, like,
yeah,
nah,
yeah, that it's interesting because it's like you're super proud about it and you're super happy that you like made it and you want to show people, but then people telling you that it's good, you're like there's always like a hint of doubt in your mind, like, oh, I could have done this better, or like I could have done this. Like, oh, like, do you really like it, or are you just saying that? Like, I'm my own worst critic.
Oh
personally.
Man, seriously, no. Me and my manager will be in the studio, and I'll just start it from the top, whatever track I released together not too long ago.
Yeah,
and we were listening to it, and he was like, and the track ended, and he was like, "That's it." And then I was still sitting there like, no, like there's still like 4 different things I could do. And he's like, dude, stop. And he finally stopped me and was like, look, whatever you're trying to do, whatever edits you're about to make are going to be so minuscule that nobody else is going to hear it but you. And I was like, okay. All right, I got it. So, like, he was right, because like all that stuff were like super microscopic edits that the only person that would have known that was changed was me. Like, sonically, no one else would have heard it unless you were in the studio when it happened. So yeah, that's just one of those things I gotta work at.
Yeah, well, I feel like that mindset, though, that like striving to always improve on yourself, like that is, even though it can like make things tough when you're like actually finishing a song, like that mindset of always wanting to improve, that's important to have, I think.
Dude, yeah.
Like it kind of sucks sometimes, but like always trying to do your absolute best in any type of music that you're making, like it pays off, but it just sucks because you're sitting there like, oh, this volume, like when I was making Ghost Bear, I was like, okay, this volume is at -9. I need to change this to -8.5, bring like another thing slightly, like just slight minute changes.
Yep.
But it's for the betterment of like you too, not just the song.
Yeah, having that, like, I get to where I'm like a super perfectionist when it comes to my music because I hold myself to such a high standard. Because like back in the Dallas scene, again, shout out to the Dallas scene.
I love Texas.
Everybody there is wanting to go as hard as possible, do the best that they can at the best of their ability. So when like I bring that here, like a lot of people will just kind of be like, "Oh no, that sounds good." I'm like, "No, that's not enough." Like that, I still have this much more to go. Like if I show. I'll show somebody an ID, like a concept that I'm working on. He's like, dude, that sounds great. And I'm like, really? Like, that sounds like garbage because I have not mixed it yet, or like I'm not even done mixing it, or whatever the case may be. But yeah, everybody back there, like, they go 210% in everything, whether it's DJing or whether it's the producing, whether it's on the professional side as far as like networking, everything. So yeah, I just try to keep that, I guess you could say, like that mentality from where I came from over here. So it's just how a lot of people operated out there, you know.
Dude, how was that, dude? You came from Dallas to Nebraska. How was that? Because I came out of, like, when I was 5, I moved away from Texas. But I couldn't imagine living like most of my life there and then coming here. Like that must have been a big change.
I will say right now, that was easily the hardest thing I've ever had to do, because I was, how do you sit there and make the decision of, okay, I'm going to move away from everything I know and love, essentially, and move to a foreign land where I have to start from square one on every aspect. Like, you're moving 600 miles away, so it's not like just a couple hour drive and I'm back home. Like,
yeah,
no, it's not that simple. But it was definitely the most challenging thing, physically, mentally, emotionally, that I've ever had to do. Just because, like, but what I've realized was it was the best decision that I made, because for one thing, it got me out of my comfort zone. Dallas is my comfort zone. Because I grew up there, went to elementary school, middle school, high school, college, all that. So like I had all my friends all my family for the most part, that everybody that, you know, I needed was there.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't need to go anywhere else.
Yeah.
So when I moved out here, it was super challenging just to get resituated and acquainted with a lot of other people that I didn't know. And, you know, just as the, like, oh, yeah, I'm the new kid on the block, you know, that kind of, I was getting a lot of that, which, you know, it didn't bother me, but it just gave me that I needed to prove something. So, but it was definitely a challenge, a big challenge, and it was the best decision I ever made, because I've learned so many things, as far as from a producer standpoint, from a DJ standpoint, from a networking standpoint, and just in all facets of the industry itself, that now I can go back to Dallas with all the tools that I acquired here, and immediately just go hard in the paint. And it's really, and I feel like all artists need to do that. I feel like all artists need to do that at some point, just because of how much I've grown. I feel like it'd be beneficial for anybody who's wanting to take their, it doesn't even have to be music related, just anything that they have a passion for, to the next level.
Yeah, I think that, like, overarching concept of stepping out of the comfort zone, like that's really powerful, because it brings on so much more creativity, but also, like, different nerves and different pressures and, like, a bunch of new things, and you have to navigate it. Like, you have to navigate the Omaha, like, Dallas scene coming to the Omaha scene. I bet, even though, like, some similarities, like, vastly different. There's different people, different genres that are popping, different things, different effort levels, different, like, ways to put music out there. That's
man.
A lot.
It's going from such a vast ocean to a relatively smaller pond, and it's almost a culture shock, just because of how different it was. Because back in Dallas, like, on almost every aspect, there's so much more. Obviously, because it's a way bigger metroplex.
Yeah.
So, like, just venue-wise, you know, Green Elephant, Stereo Live, rest in peace, Stereo Live, because that went down during COVID. But Bomb Factory, you have all these different avenues, as far as, like, and they range from you know, your newcomer, this is your first set ever, to you're watching, you know, Skrillex or whoever else live, like, major headliner status. So and everything in between. But and here you just have so much, like, and I'm not even trying to bag on Omaha, but just like, it's just smaller.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's on every aspect of Dallas. Like, you get the amount of venues, the quality of the venues, the amount of producers, and the amount of DJs in Dallas, the actual size of the scene in Dallas. The list goes on. Like, it's just definitely it's its own monster, and I miss it so much. And to put it in the grand scheme of things, that's just Dallas. You have Houston, you have Austin, you have San Antonio, you even have Corpus Christi, the smaller scenes in Corpus Christi, Lubbock, like, et cetera, et cetera. So it just goes on and on and on and on. So yeah, that's just Dallas alone. And a lot of times, if you have a big enough name, people are coming from those major cities, which are also bigger than Omaha, to Dallas for said show. So I mean, like, it's just
huge scene.
It's incredible. And don't even get me started about Lights All Night, because Lights All Night is essentially New Year's Eve. It's a festival for New Year's Eve, essentially. So it's usually like 2 days, you know, New Year's Eve, and the 31st, or like the 31st and the 1st. And they'll have, like, I know they've had Skrillex on there. Pretty sure they've had Porter Robinson. They've had some huge names, huge names within the throughout the years. of doing it. And even though I could have gone a few times, but I just don't remember why I didn't go per se. But regardless,
that's
like
crazy. Yeah, that scene difference.
Man,
yeah,
like, it's just been fucking crazy. So, yeah, the scene in Dallas is just amazing. Yeah, I miss it every day, but hopefully I do end up planning on coming back and picking up where I left off, because a lot of people don't know I was just more so of a show goer back then. I didn't really do a whole lot.
How long ago did you move here?
I moved here in December of 2018. So actually,
whoa,
yeah. So
I didn't know that was that soon, that recent.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
3 years.
Yeah.
Going on 2 right now. So it's been a wild ride just for how recent it's been. It's been wild for how quick it's gone. Because like now I can say like I've already played at all the major clubs around here. Played at Slowdown, gone to done stuff in KC, done stuff in Des Moines, Sioux City, blah blah blah. You know, so when I take everything that I've learned back down there, I'm ready to just go, like, because they have like the Dallas scene has no idea what's about to hit them whenever I do a show. So
ooh,
it's
going to be first.
It's going to be nuts whenever we get shows back. Hopefully soon.
I hope so soon, dude.
Man, like that's why I'm having so much hope. I have so much faith and hope for 2021 that we get back on like track. Just as humanity as a whole, like can we hit the resume button, please? Like as far as getting this pandemic under control, because a lot of people tend to forget that it's not just the U.S. It's literally worldwide. So. But yeah, I have a lot of hope for 2021 as far as not only as far as getting the pandemic under control, but me doing shows back in Dallas and shows coming back as a whole and everything in between. That's kind of how I feel about it.
Dude, yeah, I completely agree. I feel like 2021, if things do get under control, I feel like it'll be an absolute like blossoming of everything. It'll be like 2020 part 2. Because we'll be able to actually, like the real 2020, like we'll be able to go to shows, perform so many new things that artists have done in this year that nobody's been able to see. We'll be able to see it. Like the artists will grow. The people are going to want to go to shows because they've had no shows for a year. Like the second we get this thing under control, it's going to be an absolute blossom of all artists.
Just from a scene perspective, the amount of... Like, I don't care what show it is. I don't care who's headlining or who's on the lineup. Whatever the first major show or, like, the first major tour is, it's going ham, like, at every stop.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a show, just like a one-off show. That show's popping, period. It doesn't matter who it is or what it is. Whatever it's going to be, it's just everybody's going. Everybody's going.
It will work.
Yeah. It could be... Oh man, I'm not even. See, I was gonna say something like a lot of the canceled DJs, but like we're not even gonna go there.
It's like it could be a Datzig back-to-back Space Jesus show.
Man.
Back-to-back Bass Nectar, just all 3 of them on a tour.
See, like a lot.
Big old stub my toe against the wall.
But it's to the point. But it's to the point where people would actually contemplate going to that.
Yeah, they'd be like
they'd throw it up in there like.
I feel like people would go, but they just wouldn't tell anybody they went. Like they'd go.
And then
their
friends.
Yeah, like, did you go to that show? I'm like, hell no, I didn't go to that show.
No,
they're all lit.
Yeah, nobody's gonna go. Like everybody's gonna go and say nothing, but then gonna be surprised. Like, oh, you're here? I thought you weren't going.
Yep. Everyone will be there.
Yeah. Everybody's like trying to hide themselves.
Exactly. They're gonna be like, oh shit, that's so and so. And yeah, it's gonna be. It'd be really sus as far as like people trying to act like they're not gonna go, but they definitely want to.
It's just it's something, and I
it's
think
in no
the
way
concept...
saying that any of our scene supports these artists. It's more so just the fact that since we have
it's
it
a
cooped
show.
up so much, people are like, okay, if I can go out to a show where I know it's going to be big pull, big sound system, like big artists, like I want to be there. Like end of story.
Yeah. Actually, the Trap Squad and Friends.
That was amazing.
That was the last show that was announced, and then everybody was like, "I'm going. I don't care. I'm getting my job. I'm taking that day off or whatever I gotta do. I'm going." And I knew like I think Jeff himself. Shout out to Jeff.
I love Jeff.
I think
He's
he put
so
out
kind.
yeah, dude, I fucking love Jeff. He put out a Facebook post that was like, oh yeah, roll call, who's all going? And I didn't even see the comment section, but it was like 48 comments, and I was like, I just kept scrolling because I knew I was like, yep, I'll be there.
It's the move.
Yeah, that was the move, and I still like, I remember Kevin, I saw Kevin there just because I just like to go to support the boys, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I saw Kevin. He was like, "Yo, you got your flash drive on you?" I was like,
Always.
"Is that even a question? Like,
Yep.
that's such a DJ rule. You gotta have a flash
Always.
drive on
I
you."
always have my emergency flash drive just in case.
Just in case.
It's came in handy twice, which is more times than I thought it would.
Right.
Many more times.
Many more times.
Yep.
So he's like, "You got your flash drive on you?" I was like, "Hell yeah, I got my flash drive on." He's like, "All right, cool. We're doing a huge back-to-back. Be on stage at 1:00." I was like, "All right." So that's what I did, and I remember I played like my intro edit, and then Quantum Power, and
I remember that. I was up there.
That was
Zach played that the other night.
that felt so
I told him
good.
I played
that
it
the
last night.
That that's which I super appreciate.
Yeah, dude. Dope track.
I just remember when I played those two, because you know, as a back-to-back, you're doing twos or whatever y'all agree to on stage. And when those two drops hit, it was just straight euphoria to the veins. Like, just for that amount of, like, as good of a pull a crowd that was, like, and don't get me wrong, everybody had temperature checks there.
Yep,
Everybody
right
was,
when we went in.
Everybody was clean. Like,
Yep,
they had masks
all the tables
on.
separated, and like everything was social
Yes,
distance.
everything was socially distanced, fine. So, just to get that out the way, but it was so good. It felt so good to just do it at even if it was for 2 tracks, didn't matter. It was just like, it just felt so good to be back and to get that glimpse of like anything pre-2020. So
Yeah.
It's like when you haven't been home in like 6 months and you get to go
And you get
you get to poop on your toilet for the first time in 6 months. Then you just
No.
then you know you're home. When you get to go home and use the toilet that is yours, like for the
Yeah,
first time,
no.
that is the most freeing and homebound experience. I
feel like it's whenever you either like take a nap in your bed,
Yeah.
or you get that like first home cooked meal. Those two,
The naps.
the naps.
That is honestly that night felt like a good old nap in my own bed. It felt like,
oh man,
it was finally like that gave me like, okay, if this is happening, things are getting better from here. There's going to be more shows. It's going to be fantastic. Like, finally the world is going to open up. And then the absolute opposite. Just a complete direct nosedive, like 10 out of 10 perfect swan dive into an ocean of COVID.
Pretty much. Like, it just...
I don't even want to go swimming.
I'm glad.
Not in COVID, but
I just swim in a sea of COVID.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm so over it. I'm so over it. Like, as far as like people not wanting to cooperate, as far as like wearing a mask and like not understanding, like, it just does not make a whole lot of sense. Like, wear a mask.
At least, even if not for you, if you don't care, do it for the people around you.
Right.
Like, do it for your friend's grandma that could catch COVID if you give it to them. Like, that's some real shit.
Like, just wear. And like, you know, you see all the like meme videos of like the Karens that are like arguing a bunch of people, and they're just like, dude, just wear a mask. And like, and even though it's a meme and it's funny, but like, the underlying issue, it's not that hard. It's literally just a piece of...
The whole reason it's a meme is because people are making it an issue when it should not have been an issue in the first place. People are making... It's funny to get memed in the first place because it shouldn't be that hard for everybody to just put a mask on their face. But the fact that everybody makes it such a political and difficult topic...
That's because it was... Yeah, that's the sole reason why it was made an issue, because it was made political. Like, in which case, like... as soon as it became political, then everybody had to put their 2 cents in and like, oh no, this doesn't make sense. Why do I have to do this? They're taking away my freedom, blah, blah, blah. When it's just like, dude, it's not that hard. Like, we're literally, not even just us, but the entire planet is dealing with this.
Yep.
You can take 2 seconds and put cloth over your face.
There's some soul searching that needs to be done if you put a mask on and you feel at a lack of freedom. Like, you feel like all of your freedoms have been stripped from you. In a society where, in America, we are eluded with freedoms that we really have but don't even really have in America anyways. So now that we're throwing this mask on, that's the kicker. Like, now that I have a mask on, my freedoms are gone. Like, it wasn't any of the other things that the government has taken from us in the past, I don't know, 50 years. Like, that wasn't tearing at our freedom. It's just the mask. Cool, whatever. Like, I don't have an argument for that for people when they're like, yep, everything is fine. The government's doing great, but now they put this mask on me and my freedom's gone. I'm like, yeah, like, cool. Like, I respect your opinion.
But a lot of people are just not gonna. They're just not gonna want to do it,
and they won't do it. Honestly,
that's what brought us here.
They're literally ready to bring their lawyers up about it to not wear a mask.
Really? It got to that point. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I mean, technically there's some kind of a loophole where if a business tries to kick you out for not wearing a mask, like, at least before some of the new laws have passed recently, like, you could sue a business for kicking you out for not wearing a mask.
Why would you even want to take it that far in the first place?
Money.
People don't have anything better to do either.
Yeah, people just want to get money.
They feel as if their rights as a human is infringed because they have to care about others.
Mm-hmm. They feel
but they don't see it like that.
No.
They see it as like they don't see it as I'm looking out for other people.
Mm-hmm. It's like someone's taking something from me and I don't have to give it to them.
But repeat that sentence. Somebody's taking something from me.
Yeah, they make it about themselves.
And it's a super selfish way about going about the situation. And it's just
it's a global pandemic. You can't treat this as like an individual issue. This isn't an individual issue. This is a worldwide issue.
Yeah.
It'd be one thing if somebody in your house got the flu. Stuff like that where like you have relative control because this is in your household. Yeah, cool. You do you because that's contained.
Yeah, that's within your realm of actual freedoms. But when people get like we get to talking about freedoms, like it gets messy when people forget that. Okay, I have my freedoms to go do these things in public, but other people's have their freedoms and their rights to be safe in public too. So if there are these rules that they have been given expectations that in this business that these rules are going to be followed, they have a right to feel safe in this place with these rules being laid out. So you walk in without a mask and you're infringing on their rights to feel safe in the same business. So yes, you're trying to maintain your rights, but you're also infringing on someone else's. So that's a double-edged sword where it's like, yes, I'm protecting my own rights, but if you're so focused on rights, you wouldn't be stepping on someone else's to get your own freedoms.
Right. And it's just like, man,
wear
a mask, dude.
Wear a mask. It's easy. Just wear a mask. This will all hopefully be over soon. It's getting worse by the day.
Yeah, hopefully within like the next. I want to give it 6 months. Okay, so I want to.
There's only so many more people in Nebraska that can get COVID, so.
So I will say to spread a little positivity, just to start it. Talking about there is a vaccine that's being tested.
True.
Now, I don't know as far as they say it's up to 90 to 95% accuracy. But hopefully I think the last thing I heard about it is they're trying to figure out what all side effects come with it. So hopefully they can work that out and get that rolling soon
So they're in like their last case of trials basically just
essentially
out.
Late stage trials.
Yeah, so hopefully that'll roll out within like the next 3, 4, 5 months, hopefully. I would say. So
maybe check with your doctor or local hospital. Maybe you could sign up for COVID vaccine. Experimentation. Maybe make some money.
I mean,
get shot up with the vaccine.
Yeah. To be honest, if people are hurting, so that's a potential way to get some money there. So But like, yeah, I'm hopeful for this vaccine just because like we need it so bad, and so then we can go back to just being people.
Yeah.
You know, like doing what we usually do.
Not 6 feet apart from everyone.
Yeah. So I mean, like, just so we can get back to like
It'll just feel
some
normal.
type of normal. Yeah, because that's what a lot of people are just wanting. That's why a lot of people. That's my theory. Is like they just don't want to let go.
Well,
for other people.
The reality of the situation, this being something that they can't control, people won't accept that. It's like I have this. I've always been in this bubble where everything is within a range of control that I can adjust myself. But when COVID happened, all this like sense of control that people have, even though it's really you don't really have control over everything, the sense of control has been taken away because even our government that eludes us with all this controlling feeling, and they're telling us these things that make us feel in power. They don't know what to tell us. They're so lost at it that they can't even tell us something to make us feel powerful because they don't know what the fuck to do. So at that point, everybody is just like running around with chickens with their heads cut off, and there's just backlash all the way through.
Yeah. So I mean, like, how good is it gonna sound if the government was like, "Yeah, we don't even know what we're doing."
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
Like
yeah.
And they've
That causes more issues.
And they've never actually said that. But a lot of the ways that they've addressed the issue to start has
that's
like
a huge red flag of I have no idea what I'm doing now.
Many of them don't, especially at the start, dude.
Yeah, you could. I mean, that was the scary part.
When
Was
Trump
that, like,
was
I
talking
feel
about
like
all
that
the ways
Dude.
that you could get the virus, and people were thinking that like eating Chinese food could give you the coronavirus.
Or when Trump was telling people that it was possible that you could just inject bleach into
Bleach.
We'll just inject some bleach and that'll kill the coronavirus. He said this in a press conference in a Senate House, like in front of a group full of politicians. He said,
Dude, right.
"Yeah, one of my doctors told me that if you inject a little bit of bleach in there, it could kill the coronavirus." And I'm sitting here. Oh.
All right, boys, let's go to the cleaner store.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah. That's kind of what we're dealing with.
We're
right
all
now.
getting our cures for corona at the dry cleaners.
like, wow. It just blows me away that somebody who has the position of the president of the United States publicly said, "Hey, inject bleach.
It's good for you.
It's good for you."
Yep.
It could cure
It
corona.
could.
It could fucking
cure-
kill you and your like entire brain.
People actually did it too.
Yeah, I said, I wonder
Somebody
how
went
many-
to the
And
hospital.
died.
Yeah.
Like,
Some dude went to the hospital after doing that and wanted to like sue because it didn't do anything positive for him. It just almost killed him because it's bleach.
oh wow,
It's bleach.
Shocker.
Bleach.
I'm questioning my own understanding of common sense to think where anybody thought that would. I don't care what. Literally, I could watch Jesus Christ ascend down from heaven, and if you told me that like bleach needed to go into my veins, I would be like, Jesus, I respect your image and everything that you do, but no. Like, there is a line that I will draw, whereas you could be a holy entity brought down in front of me, and if you're telling me to do something I know is going to probably kill me, probably not.
Probably not a good idea.
No.
to do
Not the
that.
move.
No, that's probably not what we're doing here.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I still have high hopes for 2021. I'm gonna keep being optimistic about it, just because like, there's no point in being negative for the most part. That's the best way to go about it.
One of the most positive thought I feel like is like to think about on it is that after all this time where everybody was like hoping, okay, this is going to be 4 months, this is going to be 6 months, this is going to be 8 months, like everybody's like hopes and dreams for it being over immediately has been shot to shit, like all the way through. So at this point, we're almost a year and a half in, we're like approaching.
Almost a year.
Has it only been a year?
Time has felt so weird.
It's like
so I don't
it
even blame
went
you.
fast and then slow and then fast
It's
again.
felt so slow. Like,
Yeah.
this year has essentially been the slow, like how I've experienced years. This has gone the absolute slowest ever. Just because of like, I feel like every day especially during the lockdown, was just dragging.
Dude, like
and on.
mid-March to about like June-ish, somewhere around there, that was rough.
That was
I
rough.
had a lot of fun during that month.
Oh, I know. We all, well, it was literally all of us here quarantining together because we were
like
already
6
hanging
of the homies
out.
We locked down in this apartment and just got lit for.
We just got lit for months.
It was like almost 2 months.
That's all we could do. My work everything was closed. It was just litty o'clock
at all times.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a financial strain for me for sure.
Same. We drank so many beers, and then we started the podcast.
That's like literally right before Reese moved to Oregon. Was like he taught me how to shotgun beers, and I was like going through like a 24 case of like cheapy beers. Like just I'd wake up in the morning and shotgun 4 for breakfast. Like
oh my.
I'd get to my 4th one. I'd just be like I'd get it down, and then just like half of it comes up in foam immediately.
That was me this morning. That was me.
My god.
It was great.
Yeah, morning beers are rough. Empty stomach beers are.
Yeah, I was gonna say empty stomach. Oh, Jesus.
That foam gets too real.
Yeasty liquid.
Yeah, you just liquid bread at that point.
Science, you become a science experiment pretty quickly.
You do. Your body's like,
Yeah, we're gonna hit the eject button on that.
Yeah, like it's time to go out, man. Yeah, it's not. Nope, you tried. Goodbye.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it because
Practice. I know. And what it'd be considered a disease, right? Alcoholism is a disease.
Technically, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So it's disease driven.
Disease driven.
Disease driven.
I'm proud of you, Patrick.
Wow. Holy shit.
It's a positive trait for that.
So it's the first step in getting rid of it eventually. I know it's there.
May I have a little sip?
Yeah.
Sipperoonie. Well, man, what are you doing now? Is there anything that you'd like to plug as we get to the tail end of this cast? Is there anything going on? By the way, you can find him on all social media platforms, JFrank or official JFrank. Check him out.
Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook,
SoundCloud.
My music's on all platforms.
It is.
Spotify, Apple, iTunes. You can be on Google Play. If you use TikTok, it's on fucking TikTok.
Yeah, it's on TikTok.
So yeah, go stream it. Kaleidoscope is out now. Together's out now.
Amazing.
I am working on. I think it's gonna be a 3-track EP. That's what I'm thinking right now.
Ooh,
yeah,
exciting.
And I am super excited. And I'm kind of letting a lot of different artists that I look up to hear it. My homie Eric, shout out to Sweet Teeth. I've been sending him a lot of my shit just to see what he thinks. Just getting good feedback, and also Echoes Down.
I love Echoes Down,
dude.
He's incredible.
Shout out to Mason, man.
Yeah, Mason's so talented, and he never showcases it. I'm like, dude, release this music. You need to make more.
I love that dude. Him and I's collab is probably like as far as this music goes, I love how melodic it is, and how like that dude is so talented. It's not even funny. I've been wanting to work on it. It's still just like in the vault somewhere. I've been wanting to work on his song Coming Up, a remix of that. I just have it, but like but I'm like not. It's not. I just don't think it's ready. So I'm sitting there like it's one of those. Okay, when you ever look at a track and you're just sitting there like something's wrong with this, and I don't know what.
It's like I'll come back to you.
Yeah, I'll come back to you later. So it's sitting there. I have a full remix of it done, but I'm just waiting for me to go back to it so then I can actually improve on it. Because whenever you go to different projects and you start doing better stuff, you go back to old projects. Then you're like, oh yeah, I know exactly what I want to do, and you just like, and then like you get in that flow state, and immediately it just like ends up working out.
Shout out flow state.
Yeah, yes.
I feel that ass in all aspects of life.
Yeah, flow state.
Shout out hidden flow state.
But yeah, Mason, dude,
release more things.
Release more stuff.
Yep, release more, make some more mixes, play more. You're so talented on the decks.
Yeah,
everything.
The last time I played with him was at we were at Parley West. We actually we did a rave out on Parley West.
Wait, that was when we opened actually.
Yes.
Yes. I was there. I remember that.
Yep.
That was
a fun night.
The shit.
That was great.
That was still when
he played that night?
Yes, and he oh my god,
this was right before COVID. This was January.
Yeah, it's been like a couple months.
Yep.
Right before.
And
COVID.
I remember thinking like, Mason is literally like top 3 as far as like producers. I don't even know. I don't even have a third. It's literally a tie between him, Jackson, or Zarklor. I don't even have a third. Like it's between those two because like those have been like whether it's something that they kind of make and they just kind of like put it in the vault somewhere or they actually release it regardless of which one they're always consistent as far as like their production level, and it never ceases to amaze me just because of how good they are. And I'm like, man, they're both so unappreciated,
dude. Right? Same with
both.
The only other person I can think of is Jeff Updike.
Oh my god,
he's literally a god.
He's
sicko.
Like an actual sicko.
He's really good friends with Kill the Noise now. He's like a mod on his Discord and really good friends with them.
So he's made a lot of really good connects doing the things that he's been doing.
Because he's a god.
The first track I've ever heard from him was his collab with London.
Yeah.
That what's that track called? Whoever's next.
Whoever's next.
Yeah. That shit. I don't even know why that's not even in my set list. I need to throw that on.
I also need to do that. There are new songs coming out this month, I think.
Yeah.
You guys see that photo shoot that they did?
I've talked to him I've talked to him. We've sent a couple texts here and there on Facebook. But I'm still trying to perfect my sound. So I would kind of try to pick his brain a little bit on like, just on production in general,
like techniques, ways to do things.
Yeah, it was like for a while I was really watching him and Kramos.
Kramos is great.
Kramos has a lot.
I remember his
stuff.
Show, his like EP
release show
CD or something.
I was there when he did that show at the waiting room. The first time.
Yeah.
Oh, the first time.
Yeah, the first time.
Was Jeff playing that night?
That was with was Midas was the artist that he was opening for, I think.
So. No. This was his.
Oh, okay.
This was his show.
Gotcha.
Was Jeff playing that night? Because I went to the one Jeff played at.
Because he did 2019. 2. He did.
Oh, he did do 2. You're right. I think the first one. Yeah, you probably.
It was.
I
think London was playing like as direct support.
That makes sense.
And
it's so sick. He's great.
Kramer's is great. Like his production level is crazy. Like both of them.
Is that just roommate?
No, but it's his friend.
No, yeah, they're really close though.
Harrison Ruby was his old DJ name. He's his roommate.
Yeah.
Ruby, okay, yeah, I've also heard of him.
Yeah, Transcod released his EP with Ruby.
Right. I completely forgot about that. This whole year has made me like blur out some stuff of even 2019.
Right. Yeah. It's like you're trying so hard to like isolate all these terrible things that you have to deal with this year, and everything else that was good from other years are starting to get like pushed into spots that you didn't mean to.
Yeah, the end of 2019 and the top of 2020 has been like such a blur. Like it all just kind of like blurred together and then quarantine. That's what I remember.
It was Subtronics, the rave at Parliament West, lockdown. That was this whole year, and now it's just continued.
And you know what's crazy? Speaking of the Parley West rave, there's a whole pocket of people who love dance music out west. But they just don't like. Okay, like let's say that there was absolutely zero COVID, right? Even if we were still doing shows to this day, there's a whole pocket of people out west that just don't like to drive all the way out downtown. That nobody's exploiting. And when we did that show, all of them, like Pat Kelly was a part of that. Shout out Pat Kelly, his whole crew was a part of that group of people that I was talking about. Just because, like, you know, I can completely understand not wanting to waste, but like that amount of gas every weekend.
Or say people that want to go down and have a good time and drink, like they have to get an Uber down there, like they're spending 10 times as much money Ubering downtown and back from, say, you're out 180th and Q, like to get downtown.
Right.
It's a $30, $40 Uber. Like,
each way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I totally get it in the sense of not wanting to go downtown or just not wanting to go in general, just because they're not being catered to. So when we did that rave out in Parley West. I remember talking to them, and they all had. I remember they all had Black Tiger Sex Machine merch on. So I.
That's crazy that was Pat Kelly. I didn't even know that at the time.
Yeah, as you were saying that he was there, I thought back and I was like, I know exactly.
That's when I first met him.
Yeah,
and I remember I was like, you know what, like, and I dropped. I think it was Spiders, by BTSM, and they were like, dude, like I remember looking at them as it hit, and they were like, their faces was like, that. Yes. That's what DJs. Like, that's just like
what to live
that's
for.
It. Yeah, that's what we live for. Is like when you drop something and the crowd doesn't know exactly what it is just yet, but when they realize it and like the look on their face, that's just like it's just straight euphoria. Good. So, but yeah, there's a whole little group out there that was never really catered to. So like, I want to try and do more. I definitely wanted to do more stuff out there,
or even
but
just
obviously
like looking for other venues or places that are available, like in that, like even relatively close. It doesn't even have to be that far out west, but just like past 120th Street,
right? Because everything's on the east side.
Yeah, everything's probably 72nd or farther.
Because you have where's Benson at? Like that's like the waiting room
in Maple.
Yeah, because all that waiting room reverb. Then
that's
you got
way far from out west.
Yeah,
180th and Center to 60th and Maple.
Yeah, so we're talking 120 blocks plus another 100 blocks north. So we're talking almost 240 blocks altogether.
A lot of blocks.
Yeah, it's just a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, so it's just like, man, it's unfortunate just because like they don't have a whole lot other than like that stuff that we did at Parley West. So I mean, like, and I wanted to
a lot of good things from a lot of my friends that I know that from school. Like we're just like from people they knew that went. They just heard a lot. Like there was just good traction in the area.
Man, that's why I was like, the main reason why that popped off, like not popped off, but like how we got that organized, because I remember, I think it was, yeah, shout out Devin Dupree. I'm doing a whole lot of shout outs. Like I just like everybody who
that are great.
Yeah, everybody who I'm shouting out, like I love y'all, appreciate y'all.
Devin's so nice. He's been such a nice person to us.
He had a residency, I think he still does at Parley West, and he was in control of Thursdays, and he gave Mason the go ahead to do like a rave on a Thursday. So Mason hit me up and was like, yo, you trying to throw it on a Thursday? And I was like, hell yeah. So it was really, man, that night was so good.
It was so good. And it wasn't like an overly packed night where it was like, it wasn't like sweaty, everybody's body to body. It was like, it was a full room, but everybody had space to do things. Like the dance floor was full, but everybody wasn't bumping elbows.
Yep,
like,
that's exactly what it was.
It was a really comfortable, full crowd.
Yeah, and I just remember being able to drop that. It feels like so long ago, but I made a Takeaway remix with the Takeaway with Chainsmokers and Millennium, and I made a remix for it, and that was like one of the first few nights that I was like actively playing it. And I just remember like shout out Camry, because that was her shit for a while. And anytime I'd be on a lineup for some reason, you're gonna play my song, right? And I'd be like, and I knew exactly what she was talking about. But yeah, I mean, now we just have to reminisce on like pre-COVID shows, and it's just like,
look forward to the ones that will come later.
Yes,
right.
I'm telling you, before we end this, like, whoever, two things, whatever shows is gonna happen, like whatever major show happens first, immediately gonna pop,
knock out.
But the flip side to it, when it's announced, it's going to get blasted. That's my theory.
Yeah, 100%.
Mark my words.
No matter what.
Everybody's going to go, but everybody's going to talk shit.
Even if it's like spring of 2022, they're going to be like, oh,
there could be
COVID, like, et cetera, like safety precautions, like you're being irresponsible. Like, someone's going to be a hater.
But then every club, everybody's like, yeah.
Any business owner that needs shows going on to maintain their business is going to be like... just beyond, like, just as happy as all the artists and all the people that want to go to the shows.
Yeah, that's what I hate about it. It's just the fact that I know as soon as like a major show comes on, like let's say Keizo comes to the Bourbon.
Yeah, I'd love that.
That's always a good show.
But everybody's going to shit on it just because they're gonna feel like, oh, you know, obviously COVID just happened, and even though, like, let's say it's on a really good downslope, to where it's like very minimal now, they're still gonna be like, oh, I don't want to be the one to support this just in case I get blasted, so I'm gonna blast it too, even though I'm low key gonna go and say nothing about it. Like, come on, guys. Like, I know it's gonna happen regardless. I just don't. I wish it wouldn't.
Right. It's like there's only so much you can do. These are people's livelihoods.
Man,
like you can't complain that hard, and I also feel like that kind of goes back to like the Karens that think their freedoms are being taken away. They're like, they see it kind of going on a downward slope, and they see a show pop up, and they're like, oh, these people are just going to throw a show and make it all worse for us, and I have to keep wearing masks for months. Like,
man,
it's just not, it's not it.
So it's like, so you're saying that all these people that are throwing shows shouldn't be able to feed their kids, pay their rent, like do the things, and they can't put clothes on their back, so you don't have to wear a mask for a couple extra months.
And it's crazy,
even if
like,
it really was that reality, like that doesn't make any sense.
People don't think about, you know, okay, for instance, like the Bourbon, the Slowdown, all of our venues in the area. They don't think about all the employees that work there, all the bartenders who work there, all the audio guys who work there, security, management, lighting.
They also have to pay rent.
They also have to pay the rent for the building. Like, they don't own that. The Bourbon doesn't own that building. Like, they have to pay rent to stay there. So, Save Our Stages. Please go to that website. Please go to the website, because that helps all of our venues. I know Kevin's been a huge advocate for it. I know a lot of our artists who's been huge advocates for it. But go to the website, please. So then in the future, we have venues to play at, you know, because, you know, it goes for all of them, big or small, waiting room, reverb, even smaller places like anything at, why am I blanking out? Capital District or whatever the case may be. Those all count. Like, it doesn't matter what venue it is. Like, they're all hurting to some degree, especially if it's not like a club to begin with.
Yep. If it's like
specifically live events like the Slowdown, the Bourbon, Royal Grove, all of that, they need our help.
They are hurting bad.
And that's, if anything, that would be the best way to go out. Just like making sure everybody who watches this, go to saveourstages.com. I think it's .com.
I think so. Yeah, saveourstages.com.
Go to saveourstages.com, because they need our help more than anything. Because if they don't, if they go down, we don't have live shows. Pretty much, unless they just
parties only.
Yeah, house parties only. Is that what everybody wants? I don't think so.
No. So losing sound quality, we're losing all our lights.
You're losing the atmosphere.
System. Yeah, you are losing the atmosphere.
They're losing the atmosphere, and nobody wants that. So like, we have to do our part in saving them, because they have saved us from
many things,
from life itself. Like, in the sense of, like, you know, you go to a show, you completely forget about every problem you had going into that night. You could have been like, dang, I was late on rent. My phone bill is due in the next couple days. I'm having issues with my girl, blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I got that show coming up tomorrow. Yep. And I'm just going to let all of that go for the 3 hours I'm there. I'm going to let go of all of that and just be me and just be in the zone and just vibe out. So, and you know, that's what a lot of people depend on a lot of times, is those shows to just get a moment to just release from all the troubles of life. So
that breath for just a little bit, that escape from all of the normal toils and troubles of reality. Like, that's, and we as producers and artists, like, get to sometimes provide that experience, but that experience itself, that breath of fresh air and that ability to just release is so needed. So please, wear a mask. Just be careful. and do what you can so that we can all get this over as soon as possible.
And be like Australia, because they're already back at full blown shows.
They're killing the game.
Yeah, they're popping off.
They're in first place. Like what? Shout out to
shutdown
Australia.
was so serious though. They did the most serious shutdown. And I think it lasted almost 3 or 4 months longer than everybody else's shutdown. But then when they opened back up, they had eradicated like every COVID case.
Exactly, because.
And then,
dude, you start first, you finish you start first, you finish 1st. Like it's going into
we started last. We stopped first.
That's not how it should have gone at all.
No. But that's how we did it. And then if you look at the numbers comparatively, everybody's still suffering in amounts. But if you look comparatively in numbers, the United States versus any other country. If we're swinging for the fences in COVID cases, boy, we hit at least 10 home runs.
We knocked it out the park. Like
Shout out Nebraska,
that ball is in the woods somewhere. Like we're not getting that ball back. But I mean, yeah, let's wear a mask, stay safe, everybody, so then we can do some shows again. Because if I can speak on behalf of any DJ or producer, period, we want to play for you guys, and we miss you so much. Be safe, wear a mask, so then we can do these shows again. Period.
Well, thank you again, JFrank. It's been a pleasure. It's been fantastic. Yeah, it's been great getting to know you. That's so cool that you came from Dallas. Check out his social medias. Go ahead and give him a follow. He's a great dude and producing some fucking phenomenal music. Indeed. Thank you again to everyone who's watching, and I hope you have a masked up, safe, social distanced rest of your day and week.